Chapter 30, The Better Half. Continuing on, Michael began to think about whether or not he had spent too much of his time trying to turn himself into an ultimate tail chaser, completely focused on what women thought of him and trying to conform to their needs. It could be exhausting, though. I feel like I've practically spent my entire life doing so, at least starting at 12 for whatever reason. And then remembering what Gabe was trying to tell him over Nikki. So that's what you were trying to drive at there, weren't you, Gabe? Calling me pussy whipped. And with that, Michael began to look at things a little deeper in. They mean everything to me. Fine, I'll admit it. They do. They simply do. There's something truly mystical and magical about their presence compared to our own. I see it and I feel it too, and I know every other guy does so too as well. I look at other Joe Schmoes, guys like me, and all I see is another worthless face like my own searching for something greater and grander in this world to love and value. And women are it. Only difference there is with me compared to most other guys is I've had to reinforce my sense of value to show worthiness, but working on my sex appeal, my sexiness, and my charm in order to stand out. I've had trials and errors, tons and tons of trials and errors, but I've learned from them and moved on. And even though it's true, you would have to be really pussy whipped to go that far, all for the sake of making anyone's head turn and smile. Here's the thing, Gabe. It's what's got me laid multiple times, and it's what's left you high and dry. Something Michael had noticed about his chum that he didn't say. Yeah, Gabe, I can tell about things like that. And for what I saw from you tonight, what I saw almost had me in tears, feeling sad for how lonely and sad you must feel, really. Mr. Owner of the Lonely Heart, you there. Anyways, here's the thing. People can genuinely tell when you've placed a lot of time and effort into a passion. And when they see that, they commend you for it. Especially if it's something you've been enslaved, enslaved with. I'm using that word, enslaved, to have to work at. I mean, that's all women are allowed to excel in, really. Their looks. Even now in the 80s with women CEOs in corporations and shit, even though a few might have excelled that far in their goals and dreams, the majority are still left worrying day and night about their looks, since it's the only thing that matters to anyone in the world. With women, that's all that matters, day and night. That's all anyone thinks of when it comes to them. Is she hot? Is she hot? Is she hot? That's all anyone cares about when caring about them, and God help them when they get old and wrinkly. That ain't how sexy they can be. Objectification. Yeah, Gabe, I know what that word means. You'd be surprised at how not done I've become since the span of time I haven't seen you. Michael didn't realize he was picturing Gabe way too much with these conversations he was supposedly having with himself, and decided to drop it and move on with what he was thinking. Yeah, anyway, it's like this. Most guys I see decide never to put hardly any attention towards their sex appeal, how women are enslaved to do so, to get ahead in life. So comparing me from the lot and all the effort I've made to stand out, it's something I know in the end they appreciate. Since look, here's a guy wanting to cater to our needs and desires who isn't just going to try and take or buy them like most guys will try and do. So many I've come across who try and buy that shit. That or they'll get all domineering but then Michael got checked by himself. I do the whole domineering thing because deep down, okay, I know. It's because they love it. They do. It's a fact, Jack. They do. They most certainly do. I mean, be a nice guy and see how far that gets you. Michael now began to feel depressed, very depressed, but came back to terms with what he was thinking. I don't like my gender. I don't. We really are worthless if you come to think about it. What the fuck are we good at except being all domineering and taking? That's all we're good at. And that's the only thing that's kept us in charge of the world since we're bigger and stronger. And if they didn't like that, they could then answer to the back of our hands as we smack them across the face, putting them in their place. Since violence is and will always be the ultimate means to resolve anything. I fucking hate my gender. Not only are we worthless, but also wretched and evil. And they're far better than us in every way. But are women free of sin and evil doing, Michael now thought. No, it's different with them. I mean, it's different. And then Michael thought of that bitch, and how badly she had wronged him, and now left feeling not so sure. Fine, they're capable of it, they are, but still, it's different for them. For instance, I know how vain they can be. I mean, fuck, if vanity had a face, it would definitely be that of a woman. But still, it's different with them, and the difference is, they ain't inherently evil like men are. And with that, Michael felt like he was onto something. Whatever wrong that comes out of them was never originally there from the start, so evil is never inherently there. And anything found was probably put there by a man. And that's the story about Adam and Eve and that apple. The story is all backwards, if you ask me. Plus, they can't help but be empty vessels since it's just the way they're built. I mean, look at a sexual intercourse. Who's filling up who in the act? It's just the way they're built, physically and psychologically. They're not capable of being inherently, but then Michael thought of her again and stop thinking about her. That religious fanatic, that woman had to be possessed or something, going all that way to LA, and for what? Michael then stared down at his rosary that was half hanging out of his pocket, swinging by its side, and he decided not to delve too deeply into that matter as he had as a teen. Anyways, they're better than us, so don't start calling me pussy whip just because I'm inclined to side with them more. With women, Michael felt at ease and connected. Around other guys, there was always that competitive nature that demanded confrontation, one to stand out. Clashing of the fists is what I call it. And on an average of 50% of the confrontations Michael had always had something to do with a woman. Sometimes not even really trying, he'd manage to charm up some bright-eyed filly with a boyfriend and end up, dodging chairs and beer bottles for the rest of the night. Fucking G-Nix. You said nothing to me at that dojo there about Kimmy. Why didn't you? You should have known better, though. It didn't take me long to realize what type of girl Kimmy was, but then again. Michael then began looking at things in a different light. Now that I think about it, maybe it was G-Nix that made her that way. Fuck what Gabe thinks of the guy. He always came across as an asshole to me, and why would I think he was picking on him if he wasn't? Gabe used to get picked on a lot back then anyways, and G-Nix also came across as a conniving, two-faced bastard too. Himself. He probably would pick on Gabe and then switch over and pretend to be his friend. That's how you really win over people, to make them into your personal plaything. First, you put them down to make yourself seem superior. Then when they're feeling low, raise them up to your level. And since a guy like Gabe usually tends to feel inferior most of the time anyways, that uplifting feeling he gets reaching newer heights and feeling accepted by G-Nix after he tore him down some makes him feel like a new man. Yeah, it probably was G-Nix that made Kimmy into such a slut. Except he did things with her in reverse, to put her down like a dog so then he could fuck her like one. First, he'd be kind to her. And when he'd win her over, then he'd switch it around to get what he really wanted. Make her feel like the only good she was to him or anyone was when she'd be on all fours begging for him to smack that ass and yank down hard on that hair with all his might. Just the way G-Nix would love it, thought Michael while licking his lips. But then Michael thought about how he related to women. Fine, I fuck women like I'm racing them in a Kentucky Derby too. All giddy up and shit, smack my own. But I do that shit only when I know they want it like that. I would never do that to degrade them if I knew they really didn't like it. G-Nix, on the other hand, would really do it to put the girl down. All take and no give. As he'd try and break her down like a mule. Michael then shook off that line of thought as he realized he kept this up. In the end, I'm a guy too, so I'm no good to begin with, no matter how much I try to be different. He'd be going in circles all night long when he really had bigger fish to fry. What if... sigh. Reaching Latoya's project, Michael came across a Hispanic couple making a scene out front. There was a wimpy-looking guy with a long-ass nose and a bit of a Jewish messy do, all tangled and drooping from the sides, who was slouching over a Toyota, holding a box full of goods while begging his girlfriend in Spanish. Michael knows Spanish, so this is what he heard, basically. Flores, Please believe me, I didn't cheat on you. I didn't. How many times do I have to tell you what I was doing last week? I wasn't hitting on any chicks. I was at my friend's place, not some bar. Why can't you believe me? And as much as Michael felt like moving on, fuck it, I need some entertainment, thought Michael as he stopped short from entering the building, leaning up against the wall, holding some distance between the couple, lit up a cig and pretended he wasn't listening. Also kept his bleeding side away from them so the blood wouldn't draw their attention. As Michael did so, he kept his radar on the couple through his peripherals, began picking up all the signals he was sure they wouldn't even do so facing each other. These two seemed very lily to me. Not streetwise at all, not the confrontational type one bit. Or in other words, they don't know how to read into a person like my sort can do. Don't know nothing about the hustle and bustle, not one bit. I mean, I bet I can read them better than they could read themselves, and they could have known each other for years while I just met them. Literally, people are just that clueless and lost. I mean, I look into their eyes and I see weakness. The type of eyes centered on their own pitiful selves instead of the people around them when they're interacting. The type that will never look you in the eyes when they talk to you because they're either afraid of you or they don't even know you exist. Right now, I bet the guy's all thinking, what's wrong with me? Why don't you love me anymore? What do I have to say and do to change how you feel? Why are you being so mean to me? This isn't fair. I didn't do anything. But then again, maybe I'm just that pathetic and really don't deserve you to begin with. Maybe that's really the problem. I wish I was different. Why can't I be different for once? While she's thinking, wait a sec. Looking into the girl's face, Michael then saw something different, something he didn't expect at first. It seemed very odd to him how the slouch was one seeming to so pained by everything, while this Flores girl wasn't. The slouch was leaning all up on her, begging for support and acceptance, while she kept to herself. Her mind focused on other places, matters, or possible people. Or people? The couple then began conversing again in Spanish. I got nowhere else to go, said he. Oh, so he's getting kicked out, probably doesn't have a job and has been mooching off her, but then again, I'm sorry, Juan, I can't, said she, still seeming to be minding other matters instead of the one at hand. Flores, you just want me to stay at a, well, what? Barked out she, as finally her attention seemed centered. Oh, oh, you gotta be shitting me. Maybe she ain't all Lily, just pretends to be so. Didn't see it at first, but now I sense the hustle is strong with this one, thought Michael as he began to see the bigger picture. The Missy was now staring holes into the slouch as the slouch eyes peered away and then directed them at Michael. The couple wasn't saying much anymore, but there was still a lot of tension there as Flores continued to intimidate Juan as Juan shook his head at Michael as if to say, can you believe this shit? And now the girl took notice of how Michael was also there. And at first, she tried to redirect her intimidating stare at Michael, but then, when she noticed the enormous size of Michael's manhood, both figurative and non-figurative, yeah, I got a hard on right now. I got a hard on all the time. What, didn't know that? Anyways, when she noticed it, she immediately shied away, then cringed up and then began yelling at Juan in Spanish again. It's your fault. And don't fucking be giving me any bullshitting excuses. I know what you've been up to. And then she looked into her own eyes. And Michael now knew what was up. How long do you want me to stay at a motel or something? Asked he. Until I find my own place. I mean, you don't expect me to stay at a motel after what you did. No, I understand. Well then, concluded she, and said nothing else while staring at her nails, also trying to sneak another peek at Michael. Is that a giddy little schoolgirl smile I see you trying to sprout there? Juan made a couple of more attempts to cling on to Flores again, and Michael couldn't help but to start feeling sorry for the slouch as he saw how futile it was to do so. Sorry, Mac. She's really not that into you at all, never has been. It's really that obvious. Save yourself the humiliation and show some dignity. How long am I supposed to stay in a motel for? I don't have that much money to pay the rent here at the apartment and stay at one. I might have to sleep in my car after a couple of Flores just shook her head as she faked the look of sympathy, which Michael picked up on. Can she really be that fucked up? Wow. Simply wow. After another minute of waiting for a response from her, the slouch gave up, picked up the rest of his stuff, placed him in his car, sighed, and then left. Now it was only Michael and Flores there, and Michael had a theory he wanted to test out to see if his conclusions were right about what was really going on. You know what the deal is here? Well, here's my theory. She's the one that's been cheating on him, but she wants to pass the blame so she can get his mangy ass out of the picture as a means of dealing with her guilt. That and she has no place else to stay, so she's kicking him out of his own apartment so she can go back to fucking other dudes in peace. Fucking other dudes like me. Thought Michael while pointing himself out, while his caller did that popping up by themselves bit again, as Michael smirked. I could tell when girls got the craving, and this one here seems full of it, practically skipping. Of course, I can't jump to conclusions. I might be wrong, though. So now I have to test this theory to see if the truth. And with that, Michael began smiling with his cock. I can do that too. And began sending out all the right vibes to see how she'd respond. You like bad boys? Bow that your ass down to the bad boy prince. As Michael continued vibrating, Flores there stood perfectly still like a deer sensing the presence of a predator, of a wolf, as Michael thought, shh. Be quiet. Be very, very quiet. We hunting pussy tonight. How? After more than a second, Flores tried to hide a faint smile, but then cringed up with teeth as she went ballistic on Michael in English. Hey, you creep. Don't you have anything better to do than eavesdrop on people's conversations? Are you that spineless and pathetic? Get the fuck out of here before I walk over there and smack that smile straight off your disgusting face. Michael almost busted out with the laughter hearing her blow up like that, but kept it shut because he knew he was going to blow the experiment. The fuck you, what a fucking sleazy pile of slime you are, buddy. Stop smiling at me. No, I don't think you're a hunk. Oh, you think I'm a hunk? Well, thank you. Yeah, she's doing with that staring me up and down and mostly down thing, and boy are her eyes telling me a different story. She's probably fighting the urge to start licking her lips right about now, checking out the dish I got to offer. When will I ever meet a woman that's different? Just once, but then Michael thought of her and almost dropped the ball again. No, don't send those vibes. They'll blow it for sure. What you think? You're tough, huh? Well, you should meet my hermanos. They're part of the Jam City Fives. You mean those guys that want to beat the fuck out of 10 of at some strip club back in the day? Okay. Maybe if you had more than 10 brothers, I might start taking you seriously. Might. But then again, you are Catholic, so. And now cut your fucking balls off and feed it to you, you bitch. Ha, that's right. That's what I think of you. You're a spineless, disgusting little bitch. And actually, fuck my hermanos. You look like such a sniveling loser. I bet I could do that myself. Fuck you. Okay, I'm starting to get bored with this yipping chihuahua here. It's about time I make my move. Time to go viciously fucking horny mode. And with that, Michael took off his sheep's clothing, and the wolf was now out. Flores made a bah sound and looked like she almost pissed herself. Yeah, just don't let it all out. Don't want to scare this poor girl. Can't let that happen. Now if I want to test this theory I got here. As Michael began prancing up the floors, the girl looked like she was going to freak out and start screaming. Before she could, as she opened up her mouth wide to do so, she felt it enter, and then felt it. You like it, don't you? And ooh, she did. She most certainly did. Hey, I see you dumped that loser there. So how about you and me? What? Bought out Flores' eyes went all black from her expanding pupils. Okay, if she's a good girl, she should then think of one and reject me. If she doesn't, I don't know. I was kind of admiring you back there, you and your feisty ass. So how about you and me? What? Moaned out Flores as she began to blush. I don't know, princess. Your wish is my command, dished out Michael. And with that, Michael now had his answer. Seeing how ecstatic Flores was getting, all hyperventilating as if Michael was already given it to her. Well, since you put it like that, how can a girl resist? Moaned out Flores again as Michael began to fill up with sour lemons. Fucking bitch. Didn't even think of poor Juan there once, did she? I'm done. I have my answer now. Oh, what's wrong? You're bleeding all over the place, cried out Flores as she finally noticed Michael's wound. The sight of Michael's mouth cringed up some as he eyed and judged her a bit more. Oh, this all? Where did it all come from? Well, you see, I'm a psycho killer. I've just arrived after murdering and chopping up a couple of whores in an alley over there. Anyways, would you be interested in coming along and seeing the handiwork I did? What I've created really is a work of art worth dying for, thought Michael, and really felt like saying all that to Flores here, but then, fuck me, I can't. Didn't. Then turned around and started heading back into the building. Oh my God, you look like you need help. Do you want me to call an ambulance? Please, I don't need your concern. I find it a lot of things wrong with the fact that you'd show more care to a stranger like me than you would to someone you're supposed to love, thought Michael as he entered the building and didn't say a word. Women can't help but be empty vessels. Inherently, they're incapable of being evil. G-Nick's turning Kimmy to a slut? Shit. Maybe I'm a little pussy whipped that I've been thinking that way. I'm guessing having been in prison for so long, dealing with dudes all the time, has really warped my perception of things and how I'd like to see them. But then again, maybe I've always been that way. Gabe noticed it way back then when I was with... Was she just using me back then as this Flores girl here was using? And now Michael was hyperventilating himself, thinking about his relationship with her. And I thought that Nikki was just trying to satisfy some bad boy lust before moving on to some college football star, or oh fuck. I hope that wasn't all there. No, it wasn't, thought Michael as he pulled out his rosary again and kissed the crucifix some more.